Hi, I'm Dr. David Hill, and today we're going to talk about dieting with acid reflux. Now, when we talk about that, we need to talk about acid reflux, what's that? And we need to talk about dieting, because there are some wild, crazy diets out there, and they may or may not be good with reflux, depending on what you think you're going to do. So first of all, acid reflux. Well, that occurs when stomach acid and gastric contents wash back up into the esophagus. That's the tube that connects the mouth to the stomach. Now, symptoms of that are often discomfort that you feel in your chest or in your upper abdomen. You might feel a little bit of acid or gastric contents in the back of your throat. You might even vomit. When those things are happening, it's a pretty fair bet that you are experiencing some gastric reflux. That said, there are certain populations who should never assume that discomfort in the chest is due to reflux without knowing that it's not heart disease. Particularly women, middle-aged or older women, smokers, people with diabetes. You always need to take heart disease seriously, and a lot of people miss heart attacks or early heart disease because they assume that what they have is reflux. So when you're having those symptoms, especially if you are in one of those high-risk groups, be sure and check with your doctor and see if your doctor thinks you need any sort of testing to rule out heart disease before you go treating reflux. Now, why would we be enthusiastic about diet with reflux? Well, a lot of things that we eat that are not very good for our health also make gastroesophageal reflux worse. Fatty foods definitely make it worse. Caffeine isn't all that bad for our health, but it is bad for reflux. Foods that have a lot of acid in them, ironically, are not necessarily bad for reflux, although for some reason raw onions seem to increase stomach acid excretion. Things that are bad for our health, like smoking and alcohol consumption to excess, can also make acid reflux worse. So a lot of diets take some of these things away. They don't stop you from smoking, although it's always a good idea, but they may take away alcohol for a while. They may ask you to eat fewer fatty or greasy foods. Now, some diets don't. There are some high protein and high fat, low carb diets that may encourage you to eat fatty or greasy foods. If you have gastroesophageal reflux, find something else to do. And finally, a word about dieting. The real concept is to change the way you eat as a whole for the rest of your life. Not to go on some crash diet and lose 50 pounds before your class reunion, but to think about the way you eat and incorporate healthy foods, fruits, vegetables, whole grains in your diet on a daily basis, so that you're not going on a diet, you're living in a healthy way. Generally, the healthier you live, the less problem you're going to have with acid reflux. Now, if changing your diet and changing your lifestyle is not helping your reflux, you really do want to seek care from a doctor. Acid reflux may raise your risk of scarring in the esophagus or cancer in the esophagus, and it's very important to get it treated, especially when it's prolonged or severe. Talking about gastroesophageal reflux and dieting, I'm Dr. David Hill.